With all due honor and praise to the Most High, I worship thee through the divine image of my wives. Amen. Welcome to the Horseman Law Podcast. I am your host, Tank, and we black at it. We here. I'm happy to be here. I hope everybody's in good health. I hope everybody's enjoying the heat. We're suffering a heat wave here in Vegas, and it's much needed though. Need to burn off all the bullshit. Burn that off and start new. Um, Hope all my dudes in the field are safe. Overseas, salute to everybody that's out there working, making money. Um, it's a blessing, man. Enjoy it while you can. We are in a business that is recession and depression proof. So pat yourselves on the back if you're in this business and you're successful in this business. You are recession proof. You will be needed uh, uh, eventually at some point, guaranteed. Um, Three major professions that there will always be a need for: prostitution, protection, and law enforcement. So you know we're here, and we're making it happen every day. There's a lot of guys in the field who are um, working at, I believe, either it was yesterday or the festival in New York. We'll get into that. We'll talk about that and some of the things that happened there. Let's get into some sports news. I watched these finals. I've been watching these finals, and I've been enjoying these finals. Steph Curry's amazing. Uh, the game four he just had was, I mean, I've never seen it, and I grew up watching Michael Jordan. I grew up watching Iverson, and I'm not gonna say he's the greatest ball player I've ever seen, but he's definitely hands down the greatest shooter I've ever seen. Pure shooter I've ever seen. It's amazing. It's uncanny what he did in that third quarter, going into the fourth, and he basically just won the game by himself. I mean, the rest of his teammates. Clay tried to contribute. I think he contributed a 3 pointer that was vital to the game. But outside of that, man, it was just all Steph Curry. And salute to that brother. And I'm going for Golden State. I think he made me a fan in this series. He made me a fan in Game Four in this series. So I'm hoping they take the chip. In other sports news, and this is really what I wanted to get into today. And it's been bothering me for the past week. And I come on here and I talk about the shoe booties all the time. King Shoe Booty himself, Stephen A. Smith, and some of the rest of the shoe booties out there who make it their business to critique and criticize other black men for a living. And you know, I often talk about the look on their co-host face when they're going through these tirades of just how much they're disappointed and how much they think this man should be thrown out of the league and he can't be trusted and why is he getting paid so much money and blah 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 blah. First it was Kyrie, and this week it was Deshaun Watson. Now listen, I don't know what the brother did. I don't know what he did or didn't do. Um, I don't know what his proclivities are. I don't know what his interests are or why he does this, but he likes massages. He likes getting massages, and clearly he likes a hand job. I guess clearly, I think that's obvious. Now, um, Are we supposed to toss this brother out and get rid of him because he has these proclivities? I mean, are we supposed to treat him like a pariah in the industry because he does this? I mean, okay, cool. If we're going to have a moral standard and we're going to say the Shield is this moral standard that every player and every person associated with the NFL should represent and hold that standard up, well, then we're going to have to talk about a lot of people. We're going to have to start bringing in a lot of gentlemen if that's what we're going to do. You know, these shoe booties and these pundits act like they forget about Roethlisberger's allegations, multiple allegations of sexual battery and assault, and the R word. We're gonna act like we don't. You don't see those allegations, and you don't know about these allegations, multiple allegations. I think the total is about 7 or even more allegations. If we're talking about allegations, okay, we can even go even deeper in the owner of the Patriots. I mean, this man is on film at a brothel, massage parlor, right? That's accused of sexual traffic. So we're not talking about um supposed. We're not talking. No, this is on film. This is on tape. Case gets dismissed, right? So if we're going to start talking about these things, let's bring it all. Let's bring it up. See, but my point is not the fact that these allegations exist, and not the fact that they're doing these things. It's the fact that these shoe booties act like these other allegations don't exist. I'm talking the pride that's on their co-host's face, watching them go through this berating and disappointment that they have in another black man is crazy to me. And they do it every week. They do it every week. Okay, now let's get deeper. Let's talk deeper into Deshaun Watson, right? Let's not forget that Deshaun has had 2 grand jury investigations. And both grand juries, the prosecutors, couldn't get an indictment. 2 grand juries. And they've got all kind of theories and his lawyer and the prosecutor are having dinner, and that don't mean a goddamn thing. That ain't got nothing to do with the jurors and the information. If you come with the evidence and the information on 2 grand juries, the evidence and information says we can't convict this man of a crime. Now, at what point y'all gonna talk about that? At what point you gonna bring that to light? Well, and you know they're all getting the same talking points because they say the same thing. Well, it's so many allegations. Well, if it's so many allegations, then something must be something must be wrong. Uh, 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 one of these cases have to be true if there's so many. Where have we heard that before? This has become a pattern of behavior, right? Is what they say. This is a pattern of behavior. Why? Because why would all these women tell the same story, right? Come on, man. Come on. As if the obvious, logical explanation doesn't exist. All these women are telling the same story because they've heard the same story. That doesn't mean it's true or false. Doesn't mean it happened or didn't happen. But if we are a nation of laws and we're going by the creed that you are innocent till proven guilty, then you have to prove there's guilt. You have to prove their guilt, Bill Cosby. You have to prove their guilt. Allegation alone is not going to do it. And I have a daughter. I have my oldest. My oldest is a daughter, my daughter. And she knows, and And I try to if anybody does anything to you, you take care of it right then. We're gonna handle it. You got to go to the laws. You go to the laws. You got to come to me. You come to me. But we not swallowing nothing. We're gonna address it immediately. Now, at what point after the Me Too movement, after Bill Cosby, after all these stories come out, are we going to continue to use allegations to take down powerful people, powerful black men? At what point are we going to say we have to see some evidence and we have to see you take the responsibility if this man harmed you, hurt you in any way? Let's get it taken care of. Let's get these charges filed. Let's go to the police. Let's go to investigators. Let's do what we got to do. I mean, it's becoming so obvious now. Whether you're talking about Chris Brown, whether you're talking about Dooley Lowe, whether you're talking about Amber Heard, whether you're talking about, I mean, case after case after case where allegations were taken, treated as truth, and then later come to find out that there's some holes in the story or the story don't add up. Once again, I'm not saying the man did whatever or didn't do whatever. I've read through some of the transcripts. Obviously, the man has a problem with hand jobs. That's obvious. But if you got multiple women who ain't never massaged somebody in life, ain't no real massage therapist, but yet you're booking appointments with this man for a massage. So let me get this straight. You're not a massage therapist. Never been to school for massage therapy. You have no history of massage therapy. You're just an Instagram model. And this man books you for an appointment for a massage. I mean, come on, people. We got to make it make sense. We got to make it make sense. And I understand the pressure and I understand society and virtue signaling and all that. I get it, but come on, man. Those of you who have sons, those of you who have brothers, uncles, fathers, none of you will want to watch somebody be destroyed in the public opinion without evidence. That's all I'm saying. If you got the evidence, lock him up, put him away, do whatever, destroy him, kill his career, do all that. But if you're talking about allegations and you're talking about two grand juries where they couldn't bring an indictment, not one criminal charge, at some point we got to start looking at whether or not this man is being taken advantage of, or maybe, maybe we're changing the law in society. Maybe a proposition, or maybe you know, where's the line? Making advances is making an advance at a woman going to be criminal? Is it going to be, we got to talk about that. We got to talk about that. Because if you're telling me, you know, just making an advance at a woman or propositioning a woman is akin to a crime, an assault, well, then we got to discuss wet ass pussy, right? Then we got to talk about the Cardi B's, the Meg Stallions, and everything else in the music, if that's the case, because the music is saying something different. See, we got to talk about all that. If you're going to tell young black boys and young black men that they have to respect women in such a fashion that they can be accused of crimes and be sent to jail and destroyed for crossing the line, you're going to have to lay out what the line is. Because if we're going to accept Cardi B, Meg Thee Stallion, and this music as the standard bearer for the image of our women, then you're going to have to make it make sense. Now, I'm not saying the music is good or bad. I'm just saying. If you have women in transcripts saying, um, I was doing this and that, and you know, he told me to, okay. And I was just so disturbed by it. I was so I was so disturbed. I need $2 million because this man asked me to give him some head. I just couldn't. But at the same time, we got the music over here. I'm just saying, come on, man. Come on, man. We gotta make it make sense. We gotta make it. Not that this man should be propositioning women, whatever the case may be. I don't know what the conversation was. I don't know what the situation was. But like I said before, if you are a female on Instagram, you ain't never done a massage, you ain't never professionally gave someone a massage, why would you allow a man to book an appointment for a massage and then be surprised that he's propositioning you for a sexual act? At some point, you know, let's make it make sense, because they're trying to destroy this man's whole life and career and accuse him of being a sexual assaulter when that's not even the case. Understand the media and how they portray us in the media. That's not even the case. The man has no charges, no criminal charges for sexual assault. The man has two grand jury has had two grand jury trials where they couldn't bring an indictment, and he's got lawsuits. I mean, come on. Just signed a contract for $240 million. Some of the craziest quarterback contract in the history, and we're wondering, after he's signed for all this money guaranteed, why he's being sued. Oh, there's another lawsuit. Of course, there's another lawsuit. Of course, inflation is through the roof. Gas is at $6. Of course, there's a lawsuit. Of course, somebody's trying to sue him. Of course, he's trying to get. Of course, it's extortion at its highest level. You can't have a man say publicly, I'm innocent of all these allegations, and at the same time say, well, you have to prove to us why you're innocent. Can't do it. It's innocent till proven guilty. And this is what's happening right before our eyes, and we got to pay attention. They're changing the standard of innocence for black men right before your face. They're changing the standard. They're changing the standard. If you're not careful, and if you don't stop jumping to conclusions on every one of these cases, before you know it, he did it will be the only standard for guilt. He did it. Just someone saying you did it. They ain't got to prove it. They ain't got to lay it out. They ain't got to have no evidence behind it. You did it. That's enough. Get him out of here. And that's where we're headed. So I implore anybody that's listening, go out there and go look up the case for Deshaun Watson. Look at the trial transcripts. Look at the information that's out there. Not only the information that the public is putting, not only the information that ESPN has been driving out there for the past 48 hours, not just that information, Read the New York Times article. I believe it's the Times. Read that article and make a decision for yourself whether or not um, they should be talking about this man being suspended for a whole another year, voiding his contract, and you know forcing him to go in a hole somewhere, because he like hand jobs. I don't know, but anyway. So let's talk about this governor's ball, New York City. Now we've been on this show for a while now, and there's a common theme on this show that we've been preaching for a while, and that's simple, man. They're coming after hip hop. Now I said this. I said this shows ago um, that they were coming after hip hop, and that all the guns in the videos, all the beef, all the murder, death, kill shit, all that was going to come to a head, and we would be where we are now. Now, if you pay attention to my podcast, you pay attention to the information we talk about. We're constantly talking about the bigger picture and looking at the bigger picture. Bigger picture is, regardless of what the media says about Chicago, Jacksonville, Baton Rouge, all these hot spot areas. Regardless what they say about these areas, understand that crime is down in black communities. I'm gonna say that again. Crime is down and has been down, trending down for the past few years in black communities. That doesn't mean crime doesn't happen, but crime has been trending downward because of COVID and because of the lockdowns and situations like this. The prison industrial system has been suffering for the past 4 years. You know that because of the closures of several privately run prisons. What does that mean? That means if crime is down, incarceration is down. And if incarceration is down, the arrangements that these private prisons have with the government and with the state have to be revisited. That means all the money, all the taxes, all the wealth that's being generated by these private prisons and by the prison industrial system, somebody's got to answer for that. Now, if you're paying attention, then you know they've got to refill these prisons. These bodies have to be replaced. All those people they let out for COVID, all those people, that they was pushing to the streets because they were worried about the pandemic and the Democratic government. The Democrats having a bad look because of all these people dying in these prisons from this virus. That was the fear. The fear is that you would end up with all these black men and minorities, so-called minorities, dying behind bars from a virus they couldn't control. So they kicked them in the streets. Well, now they just realized that, it wasn't what they said it was. So now they have to get those bodies back in the prisons. And how are they going to do that? They're going to use hip hop, right? They're going to use the RICO statute. They're going to use gang injunctions, gang enhancement. Those of you that don't know, in California and LA, they have something, and on the West Coast, they have something called gang enhancement. That means if you're affiliated with any gang that's on file and you commit a crime, they can charge the whole gang. And not only that, if you go in and get a gang enhancement, that means whatever time that you could have got, it doubles, triples. That's how a lot of brothers got life in California. A lot of brothers got 25 to life on gang enhancement for crimes committed uh, connected to a specific gang. So this is what they're doing. See, people sat back and they were like, well, damn, why are they letting these dudes talk about murders that are actually happening, that have actually happened? And why haven't they done anything about it? Why they don't do anything about it? It's the setup. They're setting you up, right? They let you get popular. You blow up on YouTube talking about these crimes that you and your boys have committed. They let the name get big, right? And what happens when the name gets big? Well, when your specific crew gets popular and one or two of you guys get a deal, right? Now money's coming in. Now guess what? Everybody wants to be a part of the crew. Right? So now members, your numbers start to swell. Cool, your numbers start to swell. Boom. Now we hit you with the RICO. Now we can round up hoods. You just round up the hood. I think they had about what 45 people arrested in New York uh, the week before last. Yeah, this is what it is. This is what it is. They let you hang yourself. They let you hang yourself. Now, we told everybody months and months ago. The videos with the guns and the videos and blah, 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 boom, 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 boom. We doing this, we doing that, we doing this, we doing that. Yeah. All that is going to be used against you. All of it. On trial. Your lyrics are going to be used against you. They're going to use your lyrics to solve cold cases that you never had any idea about. There's going to be a body that happened in the hood that nobody knew anything about. They're going to use your lyrics in order to solve that. How do you defend yourself out of that? You can't. You can't. Now let's get to the governor's ball. Roddy Ricch, shout out to him and his people. Wished him the best. Was arrested for weapons charges. I don't know any of the particulars. I don't presume to know any of the particulars, but I know this. The charges are possession of a firearm, and I think the other charge is having a high capacity magazine, right? And I see everybody on Twitter and da 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 da. And, oh my God, he had a high capacity magazine, not knowing what that means. What does high capacity magazine mean? That means in these gun controlled states like California, New York, District of Columbia, DC, but I mean, in these areas, there's certain state laws around magazines and capacity. In California, it's 9. Anything above 9 is illegal. So if you have a magazine that holds anything above 9, is illegal. Now you got a whole lot of so-called street lawyers that think they're smart and they'll say, well, I can get a Glock 19 that holds 14, but I'm just going to put 9 in the clip. No, that's still illegal. That magazine holds more than 9. You would have to get a state-ready magazine. What's a state-ready magazine? A state-ready magazine is a magazine that doesn't allow for you to load more than the legal amount per that state. If you don't know that, if you're not aware of that, and you've got a Glock 19, you've got any of these firearms, M&P, if you got any of these firearms that hold large capacity, that holds more than 9 or 10 rounds, it is illegal and it is a felony, and they will charge you for having a high capacity magazine. Those of you who are old enough who remember Columbine, after Columbine, there was a company called High Point. They tried to ban every high point they can get their hands on because of that incident in Columbine. And not only that, they instituted the assault weapons ban after that. Now, there's been more mass shootings in the past 4 or 5 months, supposed mass shootings, and I use air quotes on that because now they're changing the law. They're changing what a mass shooting is, right? So when you think of mass shooting, you think of school shooting, you thinking people shooting up a post office. No, that's not necessarily a mass shooting anyway. Mass shooting only means there's more than 2 or 3 deaths. There's more than 2 or 3 people who are shot and killed at one time. That is the now definition of a mass shooting. And they're publicly saying there's been more mass shootings in the past 5 months than there's ever been in this country. Now, is that true? No. If you're going to classify that as mass shooting, multiple gun deaths, there's been mass shootings ever since the gun was invented in this country. What was a drive-by? If now, see, they're formulating information around desired outcomes, right? There's a narrative here. Mass shooting, high capacity rounds. What are they trying to do? They're trying to institute gun laws. They're trying to institute a narrative that the Democrats can benefit from. And don't get it twisted, the Republicans are going to benefit from it as well. There's no way the Democrats are going to keep the Congress or the Senate. That's a wrap. And there's damn near no way they're going to be reelected. The Democratic president is going to be reelected. Not with inflation and gas prices. So what's the play now? The play is to try to get as much fear and try to get as much fear and laws in place before they lose complete status governmentally, right? Let's try to get enough public sentiment around high capacity magazines and assault weapons, and let's gin up enough vitriol and hatred for people who carry firearms so we can put in place some laws that we could take the firearms from the legal citizens who carry them. You got to know this play is coming. You got to see it ahead of time. So I say all that to say this. If you're working in this industry and you're doing what we do, you have got to do your homework before you hit these states. Here's the trick bag. The laws change daily. So if you don't do your homework before the day of or the day before you get there, you can still be in a trick bag. New York City is a no-fly zone. I'm going to say that again. It's a no-fly zone when it comes to firearms. Any client that tries to get you to fly into New York City, JFK, with a firearm, quit. Call it. Call it. Because they're going to get you locked up. I've seen it too many times. I've seen it happen too many times. You cannot fly in or fly out to New York City, period. Period. You cannot carry firearms in New York City, period. I don't care what they tell you now. There might have been ways around it, and we can back channel discuss that. But for the record, New York City, there is no such thing as carrying a firearm in New York City unless you are a active police officer. Period. I don't care what nobody tell you. I don't care what story they come up with. I don't care how they try to make it sound. I don't care how they try uh to make it look. You cannot carry a firearm in New York City. This has happened too many times. You can't keep it in the car, in the lockbox, in the glove part. No. If they find it, you're going away. If they find it and they tie it to you, you're going away. Simple and plain. Right? There's no discussion on it. If you think it's a joke, as Joel Santana, as uh, the wide receiver, Plexico Burris, 2 years. Ask Wayne. I mean, the list goes on and on. If you get caught with a firearm, you're probably going to sit down. Now, hopefully, Roddy Ricch and his camp, hopefully they've got, you know, good lawyers, and you know, there's some questionable stuff about the account so far that I've read. You got 4 people in the car, you got 1 firearm. Can't charge 4 people with 1 firearm. Now, I'm gonna say this. Um, he's not supposed to eat that. That's all I'm gonna say. He's not supposed to eat that. Regardless, somebody's supposed to take responsibility for that in the car, and that's what you sign up for. If you're gonna take that risk, if you're gonna run that risk, then you're supposed to eat that, brother. Straight up, you're supposed to eat that. And you're gonna see this happen more and more. You're gonna see this happen more and more because they're escalating. They're escalating all the gun talk. You know, anytime there's a mass shooting, you know, children die, and there's going to be some blowback, and we're the first ones. We're the first ones to get a taste of that because they're coming after ours first, right? Any new gun laws that are being enacted, always go after the urban communities first, right? Whether you're talking about the Panthers in Oakland, right? Whether you're talking about the domestic violence. Remember they made domestic violence misdemeanor domestic violence. You can't get a gun with a misdemeanor any domestic violence charge. Your gun rights are gone. So we always, the urban, inner cities, black communities, you're the first ones who um, suffer from any new gun laws. You're the first ones to get it first. Just know that. Just know that. And after Buffalo, that should give everybody some pause. I'm always side eyeing any black person who's talking about gun control. Always. Right? Because he's the same people who will tell you gun control now who were saying Trump was a Nazi. So wait, hold on. So if the government has the potential to be, you know, fascist dictators, why would I ever promote gun control? Like that's common sense. That's common sense thought you should be thinking about. If you study history at all, you study German occupation. If you study any of that, you know that they took the guns first. So why would anybody promote or want gun control is beyond me. Now, something else I want to discuss. Akron, Ohio, there is a real interesting case that's happening, and I think we should really be paying attention to. There's For those who don't know, LeBron James has a school in Akron, Ohio. Um, his school that he built, great property, beautiful school. Well, apparently there was a altercation between two groups at this school, and uh, a young dude lost his life. That's how it was presented in the media. But if you dig a little deeper into the story, it gets real interesting. So apparently, this young dude and his friends decided to come up to that school with water water gel pistols that look like real pistols and shoot them at people. Now, this is legitimate. This is a fact. I read this. His father even said it. I think his father made a statement that these are just kids horsing around with fake guns, and, you know, this altercation happened. Let me tell you something. If you are young black men or young black males anywhere, I don't care where you are, and you see white Caucasian males at this time, in this period, and you see them with guns who look real, firing those weapons, my man, my man, you better fight. You better fight. You better fight. There's no way you can be in this world knowing about what happened in Buffalo, knowing about what happened previous to that, that you can sit there with a straight face and say that these young white men who are playing with guns that look real, that they're not supposed to fight them or fight for their life in that situation. You don't know whether or not it's real or not. You don't know whether or not that gun is shooting bullets, or you don't know what it is. They didn't come to where these men were. They didn't come to where the white boys was. The white boys came to where they were. So there's a movement I want everybody to pay attention to. It's Free the Akron Three. Of course, they've got three of those brothers locked up. They're charging them with murder. I think this is a clear case of self defense. Stand your ground, and we need to jump out there as a community. Share the story, get the story out, get people to hear it, and get people to dive deeper into the story and not just take the surface information and run with it, because they're trying to make it seem like they jumped on this dude for no reason. He's a good kid, and just skim over the fact that he was playing with uh, water pistols that look like real guns, and shooting them at people that he didn't know. So, um, pay attention to that and jump on that as a people. Um, Listen, man, back to my dudes who are working in the field. I want y'all to understand something, and I want you to get it. Although this business may be recession proof, and although few of us have been blessed to maintain a career at doing this, listen, you have to do the homework, the study, and the research. Now, a lot of dudes, a couple guys hit my DM about, why we don't do courses, and why we're not doing, gun training, and, you know, field training, and car escort, government escort. I mean, I get it. I've done all that training. I've had instruction, weapons instruction, field instruction, urban warfare instruction, tactical instruction. Yeah, done all that. I got it. And it's necessary. And I'm not saying you shouldn't do it, but there's a psychological aspect to what we do. There's politics, there's relationships, there's a certain knowledge to what we do. And that's what we decided to focus on. We focus on that aspect of the business, the mental psychology of what we do in the industry, servicing the people that we service. There's a there's a there's a whole different mindset of thinking in order to be able to do this on a high level. Yeah, I get it. The tactical stuff is fun, guns, cars, jumping out of cars, vests. There's a whole cosplay Fortnite aspect of this fucking industry. I get it. Everybody wants to dress up like G.I. Joe and, get out there and do that. I got you. I feel you. And that might even be necessary in some cases. Very few, though. Very few. Unless you working for the cartels or in Haiti or in a third world country. But if you're talking about in the States, in the city, moving, operating, without going to jail or being killed. Say that again. Without going to jail or being killed, you're going to need a certain knowledge in order to do that. And that's the knowledge we're giving you. So if you want tactical courses and training seminars and all that, there's a lane for that. But this lane is ours and ours alone. That's the psychology. That's the psychological training that we give you um, on this show when we talk about this business. We're not just trying to tell you how to move or show you how to move. We're trying to tell you how to think, how to process. Right? It's a chess game. It's a real chess game. Every day you leave, it's a real chess game. Those of you have heard me say it before. When I leave for a job, from the moment I step out of my house, I'm preparing my defense. Everything I do from the moment I leave is trying to aid in my defense in case something happens. That's the prep. That's the mindset. That's the prep in your mind when you leave. How are my text messages going to help me in case? How are they going to help my defense lawyer? How my purchases going to help my defense lawyer? How my phone calls going to help my defense lawyer? That's where you're supposed to be. 95% of the prisons are full with men who were the number one asset to their prosecution. The best witness for the prosecution has been themselves. The best asset, the number one asset to a prosecutor has been them. You can't do that and do this. Can't do that. And I'm not talking about the cases I beat. We're not even talking about that. I'm talking about period. When you leave the house, everything you do is supposed to help your defense lawyer. Everything you do. You're supposed to be the best defendant ever to a lawyer. I want to be the best defendant. I want to call a lawyer and he say, "You're going to make my job so easy because you have all this information. You have all this all this prep that you've done already. So when I walk into the courtroom, it's easy. It's easy. Your Honor, I know his state of mind. Here's his state of mind. You can look through his. Your Honor, I know where he was. We can triangulate where his cell phone was. We know where he was at the time. I know where he was going. I know who he's talking to. I know what kind of firearms he has. I know what he was carrying. All that goes to your defense. And if you're not thinking like that when you leave or when you land in the state, then you end up locked up praying for a miracle. Don't be in that position. Don't be in that position behind bars hoping for a miracle. I've seen it too many times. Because once they close that bar, once they close them cell doors, you don't exist no more. Not to your clients, not to the system, and damn sure not to the law. So take that with you when you're out here in the field, and protect yourselves, protect others. We're gonna try to get Jay on the line in a second here. Mm. In a second here, we're trying to get him on the line, see what he's talking about. No answer. He must be in the field. Still working. Listen, for my dudes overseas right now, getting it in. My brother Rox is out there right now in Australia. He should be on his way back. Looked like he had a great time. From what I see, it looks like he had a great time. I'm glad he's coming home safe and sound. We out here getting it. We putting people to work, and it's a good time. You know, I hope everybody stays safe. I'm gonna call it a night, and we'll close like we do every night. With all due honor and praise to the Most High, I worship thee through the divine image of my wives. Amen, and good night.